My name is Sonia, and for my Women's Studies 460 midterm project, part 2, I'm going to be discussing desires, the desiring body, and how improper desires affect bodies. Okay, so proper bodies with proper desires tend to be cis, straight, married, monogamous. So, for example, a married couple who is only having sex for the sole purpose of having children, as well as their sex being very plain with no other objects such as sex toys, no fetishes such as bondage, um, things that only pertain to one body and another body, penis, one vagina, having sex for the purpose of only reproducing and not for personal desires. Gayle Rubin created a chart that maps out the different levels of proper and improper desires. It's called the charm circle: good, normal, natural, and blessed sexuality. And at the top of the list is heterosexuality. So, being a man, desiring a woman desiring a man. Married, monogamous, procreative, so only having sex for the purpose of having children. Non-commercial, in pairs, in a relationship, so no one-night stands, none of that. Same generation, so that just throws in another factor of proper desires. If you desiring somebody who's a lot older than you, desiring somebody who's a lot younger than you isn't considered proper. In private, so only in your house, only in your bedroom. No having sex in any other public area. No pornography, bodies only, so no inclusion of like sex toys, lubricants, things like that. And vanilla sex, and usually vanilla sex is, what comes to mind is missionary, which is like the most standard sex position. And all of these rules are also just regulated by society, and they're constructed. So even if you are heterosexual, a heterosexual man, and you're having sex with a trans woman, it's still improper. If the trans person hadn't undergone sex change surgery, it would still be considered improper because their genitalia would still not be aligned with their gender identity. So the only way that would be considered proper is if the trans person was entirely female and had the biological characteristics of a female as well as the gender identity. And these desires are all are approached very differently, are seen very differently between men and women. Men have always been seen as the more like sexual being, and this is like taught through the media, in movies, TV shows. Guys are always like the players, they're always the ones trying to pursue a woman. It's rare to see a woman pursue a man, and because of this, it is seen as okay for a man to have multiple sex partners and not be shamed for it or looked down for, because it's seen as a natural instinct for a man to want to have sex and to desire a woman. As for females, if we were to have multiple sex partners or have a non-monogamous sex, it's there's a lot more societal pressure on us and more judgment that comes with it from being a woman. In today's society, being a heavily desiring man for sex is very common and not looked down upon because we've been taught that that's normal. It's normal for a guy to want to have a lot of sex. It's the social norm. As far as girls, if they are the ones doing the desiring and not the ones being desired. I mean, it goes both ways, but very heavily desiring women who love to have sex and are open to one-night stands or just having casual sex, which happens a lot, especially in college, are a lot of the times judged and kind of looked down on, and people don't want to associate with that because it is seen as wrong, and it is seen as it just has a very bad stigma for women who have a lot of sex as opposed to men who have a lot of sex. I watched this video called Living Through Gay Conversion Therapy, and that was a really great example as to how improper desires are treated in our world. And in the video, it had a lot of different testimonials of men who have been put through gay conversion therapy and how they are taught that it is wrong and that it is unnatural and that it is not the way that they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be heterosexual and they're supposed to be desiring women. And a lot of what these men said were that they were very damaged from that experience, that before the gay conversion therapy, they felt they wanted to change, but after the gay conversion therapy, they just hated themselves for not being able to change. And many people who have experienced gay conversion therapy will agree and say that there is no way to change your sexual orientation because it is something that comes natural when you are born. It is something that that is just part of you as a person. And having it be labeled as an improper desire is what creates things like gay conversion therapy, because people think that there is one way of desiring when there are many ways of desiring and many ways that people desire. And this is a very great example as to how improper desiring damages people and teaches them that they are wrong for desiring what they do. And that's just like through, in the interviews, there was this guy who said that he wanted to kill himself. There are many examples of people who have wanted to kill themselves because they identify as being gay and are unable to change that because it is something that you cannot change, but they are just being taught that they are wrong for being that way. And that is how it damages people, by making them feel like they are doing something wrong when in reality it's natural to them, and that's how they're supposed to be. It's just society teaching them that it's wrong. I wanted to conclude this video with a quote from Rubin Gayle's article. She states, "Disputes over sexual behavior often become the vehicles for displacing social anxieties and discharging their attendant emotional intensity. Consequently, sexuality should be treated with special respect in times of great social stress." She makes a really good point by implicating that sexual behavior often become the vehicles for displacing social anxieties. Everybody has different sexual desires, different tastes, different ways to enjoy their sex. And as humans, sex is a huge part of the human experience. It is how we procreate. We are designed to have sex. So in a society like this, there's a huge spectrum of different things that people enjoy and ways that people enjoy it, like have their desires and have their sex. And she makes a really good point by saying that sexual desire should be treated with special respect because it's something that is very unique and very personal to somebody. And those things should be respected, and people should be open-minded about these things, because it is very rare to have a proper desire, as I have learned by reading what a proper desire is. As a female, I thought, as a heterosexual female being into heterosexual men, I thought that I was in the spectrum of proper desire. However, there are many other factors that make it improper. And because of that, it's made me realize that, and it should make people realize that it is very rare for somebody's sex to be entirely proper. And because of this, desires should be treated with complete respect.